and I design a clothing line called Molly Ades Maternity, and I blog at soulma.com. And I have two boys, Bennett and Andrew, who are 6 and 8 years old.
And I'm Laura Katanen, a lifestyle blogger and a sensory branding and marketing consultant. My little boy, Aiden, is 15 months, but going on 16 months. With us today is Rachel.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you. I obviously love what you're doing and kind of dear to my heart. My name's Rachel Monique Maskell. I have a 4.5-year-old who's going on like 14. Literally, she was with her cousins this weekend, and she was like the ringleader, and they are 7 and 9. So, yay, strong girls. I have my passion has really been into working with her story, and I have a series called The Story of Her. And I've started these things called story circles, which are really an opportunity to bring women around in a circle, around a fire. In fact, right now, although that may evolve into candles depending on location, but with the goal of women coming together to share a story over a particular theme each month. And the idea is to hold a sacred space to revive the practice and art of deep listening. And what we're finding, and what I'm finding, is that as women come together to share their story, we recognize that we're not that different. In fact, the characters may be different, the setting may be different. Wow. To me, motherhood, whether or not you're mom or not, it's really about this ability to create, to bring something into form. And all of these themes I really put to particular things that women, that's our heroine's journey, are having to move through, to have to face and are challenged with. And this ability to create and bring something into form is one of the ultimate pieces, ultimate capacities of women. And again, whether or not that means an actual child, it could simply just mean putting dinner out, it's having this idea and then allowing it to come into form.
Rachel, I looked at your blog yesterday, and your most recent post is on this idea of motherhood and defining it and what it means. And you even, bringing up, like, it doesn't necessarily mean, physically bearing a child. And you even brought men into the conversation about creating this like feminine creation energy, which is really what motherhood is. And I think it's so important because on the one hand, when we do become mothers, we obviously have all these expectations about, like, baby is supposed to kind of complete us and be fulfilling for us. And if we don't like an aspect of motherhood, there's a lot of guilt around that. And then for women who either choose not to have children or can't have children, or for mothers who lose a child, there's this feeling of inadequacy. And so I love this whole conversation you're having, because I think it's really important if we can get to a point of recognizing that we are all women, we are all mothers, we all have this feminine energy. And when we share our stories, even if it's about tragedy or loss or disappointment, we learn that we're all on the same path.
Part of it comes from some reading and studying that I've been doing lately around the great mother herself, so Mother Earth, right? And if we take her as this kind of example, I suppose, as to the ultimate motherhood, she is constantly bringing new things into form. We're constantly evolving. There is a cycle of life, death, and rebirth that's just naturally integrated into the rhythm. That's the seasons. And so I think we get hung up on this idea of a perfect motherhood, or what motherhood looks like, maybe from some magazines, or even Leave It to Beaver. I think we still have that kind of model running through our psyche. You could say that, like, this idea of the Leave It to Beaver mother is actually the machine mom. It's like, and maybe that's a too harsh of a statement, but just the idea of perfection. The idea of it has to be like this, and every morning you wake up happy, and every morning you have breakfast on the table, and every morning, that's, to me, that's not a human element. There's going to be faults in this, and we're gonna fail at times, but like, as we know in entrepreneurialism, like, you've got to fail. You've got to fail to learn and know what worked and what didn't work. And so if we kind of embrace the totality of what it means to create, I think it drops that judgment, you know, and it drops that kind of self, you know, just disconnect to what it to ourselves and to what we're actually doing as mothers and as people on the planet.
What do you think were the biggest lessons learned through that process? What would you tell other women that are in the same boat?
The biggest failure for me came most recently when I started I did an Indiegogo campaign earlier this year. And the idea was to start the subscription box called Mumbox, MUMBOX. And the idea was to put all of these things into a box that allowed women to have some structure around self-care, to take the time out for themselves and to explore aspects of self. And it was fine. It was good. I almost got my you know, kind of level that I put out there. And all the women who received it loved it. Laura, you got one. It was great. I really enjoyed putting it together. But I had to, over the summer, I decided I was shifting gears and really had to look at that honestly with myself. And that was super hard because in this relationship of my husband and I, right, and this big failure is he told his community about it. And he was excited about it. And he helped make some of the boxes. And I had to really come to this moment with myself of saying, this is a good idea. This has legs. This is something I could do, but at what cost?
You know, I think it's so important to listen to that inner voice.
Yeah.
When you know you should make a shift, or you've worked on this project forever, but it's not working for you anymore, and you have this inner knowing that you need to move on to something else. And that goes for relationships too. I'm personally going through a divorce right now, and it's been really difficult. And part of the reason it's been so difficult is because there's a lot of like ideas from society and other people and even family members that like divorce isn't okay, or it means that the relationship was, you know, a failure somehow. And I think there's a lot of connection with that and business. It's been really interesting. I've learned a lot about myself, but it's important to know when to let go of things.
What has been the biggest revelation about yourself? What is the one thing that you're working on that you want to put out there?
The story of the great mother. Through my writing, I want to be able to tell her story. I'm not sure what it's going to look like yet, but Laura knows because I've been ranting about this book for a while called The Great Cosmic Mother, Rediscovering the Religion of the Earth. Takes us through the story of Paleolithic into Neolithic, through the Bronze Age and into the Iron Age, and to where we are today. And the story of how we were in community, you know, we were matrifocal, we were goddess worshipers, and we were all equal.
Do you think it's time to spin the wheel?
I mean, I'm all about the wheel. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to spin this, whatever it lands on. I should have you guys speak about. Okay, here we go.
Oh, that's so funny. Mamahood.
Can we each do like a little moment of like what mamahood means?
Mamahood was a total shift in my identity. Like kind of just like you said, it was like a death life transition, even though I didn't realize it at the time. I can see it now that my kids are a little older. And it also was what really inspired me to create my business. So having my children and becoming a mother is the first time I actually pursued one of my entrepreneurial ideas. And I don't think that's a coincidence. So I think that, you know, for me, mamahood is like, it's creation, like everything we've been talking about. And it's the ability to see your power and that you can create, and it's inspirational. And
Okay, it's so funny because what came to my mind about mamahood is for me, it's like going to the movies because it's really exciting to, you never really know what's going to happen in the movie. And each part of the movie is very different. And also it's like, you go to the movie theater, at least I do, and I'm always torn between whether I want something salty or sweet or sour. And, all of that is kind of like motherhood. It's like there's sweet moments where I'm like, I love you to pieces. There are really sour moments where I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do here? So I feel for me, it's like it's like going to the movies. And it's sometimes it's very surreal because I often have to remind myself, I'm a mom now.
Maybe we don't see ourselves as, pushing the pram, but like, can we all see ourselves as mothers and holding space for the great mother herself, and that through creation, through adding something to the whole that makes it more than some of the parts.
Thank you, Rachel. We are
so much.
Yeah, and we will be talking very soon. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
Have a good day.
I think Pierre agrees, being the man. And tell everybody Pierre real quick before we end. Let's see Pierre. Come on, Pierre.
He's a dirty little boy right now. Hi, Pierre.